Today we're making a quiche Lorraine, or just the basic ham and bacon, or bacon and egg pie we call it. So there's lots of different ways of making, loads of different ways of making a quiche that I could name. I've used cream cheese in them, I've used cream in them. One of the more complicated ones is to make up a roux sauce, make a cheese sauce with your onions and everything, and then mix that in with your eggs and your cream. But today we're going to do the really simple one, so you guys can follow it a lot easier, and then you can have an attempt at the more difficult ones later on, which we'll do. So all we're using is plain flour to make the pastry, and strong flour. I like to mix both. I know it sounds a bit strange. So half and half. I measure out roughly in my head how much pastry I need. If you've got pastry left over, you can freeze it for sausage rolls or another quiche. So in there we got half and half. I mix it around a bit, get both the flours together. Then we're going to add some salt to taste. I always recommend adding a decent amount of salt because you want the pastry to have some flavour to it. A little bit of lard today. You can just use butter or shortening of any description. If you want to make a vegetarian quiche, you can. Vegan's a bit different because you can't use eggs with vegan, but you can still use eggs with vegetarian. So this is just a little bit of lard I'm putting in to use up that I've had in the fridge. And then the rest of that, I won't throw that away, I'll use that to grease the quiche tray. So we've got a little bit of lard in there, got a little bit of butter. I start off just putting some lumps in. What we want to do is make, it's a bit different than the pastry we make, only slightly though. In effect we're going to make like a crumble in our hands. So this is the dirty bit. You can always get the kids to do this. My mum used to get me to do this with my hands in, and my sister. So all we're doing is I'm just pushing it through my fingers like this. Pick it up, push through my fingers like that. Spread it out in my hands. So you can see now, look, we've got like a crumble. So it doesn't look like flour anymore, it looks like a crumble, if you've ever seen a crumble. And you should be able to do that with your hands. That's the test. Get hold of it, push it in between your hands, and if it sticks together like that, you've got enough fat in there. And all that is lard and butter. But you can use other things like stork, decent margarines for making pastry. I prefer to use the real thing. If I'm going to have pastry, I like to use the real thing. So that's it. And all we're going to do is add water to that now to bring it together. So I'll show you that now. I'll get some water, cold water. Right, so I'll just mix it in this water and then it will bring it all together. Just add a little bit at a time, you don't want to go too much. You'll see it all starting to come together. Right, now it's all coming together now. That's all we do. And I get a little tiny bit of flour on my hands, otherwise it sticks to your hands. Just sprinkle a little bit of flour over the top. That helps bring it all together then. Rub your hands off. Once you've got it together, don't play around with it too much. This is a short crust pastry, which is ideal for flans and quiches. You can make sweet variations of these for mince pies and jam tarts. But sometimes I still use this one with the salt in to make pies or jam tarts. There you go, it's brought together. Now we'll clean film it. If you haven't got a clean film, a carrier bag will do, or a freezer bag. And we're going to set that in the fridge for about 20 minutes. colder the better with pastry. So that's going in the fridge now, guys. We're just doing cutting up the bits to go in the quiche now. So I'm just chopping some onion up. So we're just dicing this up. Doesn't have to be perfectly diced. And what I like to do is fry this.
You're doing them now.
So we're just dicing this bacon up. I like to put whole bacon in there as well. I always put a little bit throughout. So we just loosely dice this up to go in with the onions. You can put mushrooms in it, peppers in it, but this one predominantly is bacon, onion and tomato. Hence egg and bacon pie. Bit of oil in there. You can get the pan hot first, but you don't need to. Ingredients in. Get them frying. I've got the oven on now, so we can use that in a minute. But for now, just use our Old Faithful. And then that'll be ready to go in our quiche. So we've just got onion in there, bacon in there, a little bit of salt, because there's usually salt in the bacon, and a little bit of garlic. A little bit of mixed herbs in there, because it's just the flavour of the onions and the meat. Because we put herbs in the mixture when we make it up. Enough for that quiche. Just any eggs, but these are free range we'd like to use. And a little bit of salt. And some more pepper in that. Take the lid off would help. Yeah, commercial bit, there you go. A little bit of thyme I like in there. Because we've got mixed herbs in the base there, and parsley for colouring. Quite a bit of parsley, gives it a nice colour in there. Right, so we'll take this off now. Leave that there to cool off. A little bit of milk, about half again of what's in there for eggs. So I've got 5 eggs, so we need about half the liquid again for milk. Or a nice bit of double cream. Today we're just using milk. It's like making scrambled eggs really. You can put sausage in these, anything. Vegetarian ones with broccoli. Sometimes I add cream cheese. If I've got cream cheese I add this to the mix as well. But today, like I say, it's just the basic recipe today. Left over the lard. So that's all greased. So when you do pastry, you just push it. You don't. A bit more on top, a little bit underneath. You don't just roll it like this, like that. You have to push it like that. When it does that, you know you've got a good bit of pastry then. So I always have plenty over for making other things. So we got it about that thick. Oh, there. Got it about that thick. I don't like it too thin. Then you can use your rolling pin to roll it up. And then unroll it with the rolling pin over the top. And then just lift it, push in with your fingers all the way around. Now this bit we're going to bake blind. It just means that baking it blind there's nothing in it, so we leave a bit of pastry hanging over the edge. Usually goes to the birds. So we cut this all the way around. Push it down all the way around. And I haven't got any baking ceramic beads. So I just use a plate in there like that to hold it down, and then that will go in the oven for about 15 minutes. Well, you don't have all this in the proper kitchen, do you? Right, just check the blind baking. The blind baking's done. So that's our pastry casing. You can do it without blind baking it, but you can also end up with soggy pastry by doing that. And this is all I use if I haven't got any. If I haven't got any of the little ceramic beads that you put in the bottom to weight the pastry down. Otherwise, if you just do it like that, what happens? The pastry can bubble up in the middle. So that's ready for us now to start putting our bits in. So that's all our onion and bacon and garlic and herbs, salt and pepper in there. It's terrible for this, I like to get every morsel out. Right. Spread it about a bit. Give this another mix before you put it in. Add a bit of cheese to it. So a good amount of cheese to go in there.
On wide angle, I should say.
Pour that in. Now you've got the cheese at the bottom. So we just pick it up, move it about.
In retrospect, put the cheese in after.
Well, I'm just showing you two
the
ways.
mixtures in.
I'm showing you two different ways of doing it. Loads of different ways of doing it. You can make up a cheese, like a cheese sauce, you know. There we are. Got just the right amount in there. To make up like a roux sauce, put that in. Now what I do is I get bacon, cut it that way. My mum puts whole rashers in. I just cut mine in half and then in half again. You like bacon, didn't you, Josh?
Thank you.
One of the best things God invented, I think, bacon. Especially the fatty bits. Which a lot of people don't eat now. Right, so we got our bacon in. As thin as you can, but not too thin. You want to be able to taste it. And we decorate it with our tomato. If it starts coming over the top, guys, don't panic, just spoon a little bit out. But what I do is when I cook this, I put a little tray underneath. And a little sprinkle of cheese over the top. so that'll melt down onto the bacon and the tomatoes. So you don't have to have chopped bacon in there, you can just put the bacon and tomato on the top, like my mother used to do. And then I'm going to get a tray, because this has a tendency to go all over the bottom of the oven. So I'm going to put a tray at the bottom of the oven, so that will pick any bits up that fall out and drop in the bottom. That's the only reason why I'd let it cool down, so I can pick it up easier. I've dropped loads of these over the years. And then it goes. It's already dripping into the tray a bit. Could take some out, but I don't like to. I like to have as much as possible in there. Makes for a better quiche. Right, that's all in the oven. It's on it's not on very hot. It's on about 180, which isn't very hot for this oven. It can go a lot higher. And we'll cook that for about 30 minutes. But we will check it. As soon as it's set in the middle and it doesn't wobble all around, or it's not watery in the middle, then we know it's cooked. So it starts setting on the outside and works its way into the middle. Oh yeah, just checking to see if it's cooked. It's all done now. There, look, there's no movement or wobbling. You know it's cooked right through. So this is ideal if there's only a couple of you on a boat or at home, because you can have some for dinner and then you can slice it up and put it in the freezer. So thanks very much guys for watching our simple quiche Lorraine video, or bacon and egg pie. Keep watching for more recipes that we bring out. Thank you very much. Bye.